Atlanta City Council approves legislation amending the fiscal year 2022 general fund budget in the amount of $2 million by transferring funds to support green space improvements and upgrades in underserved neighborhoods across Atlanta. Funds allocated by the city and matched by the philanthropic community will be used exclusively in community development impact areas, where at least 51% of the population earns 80% or below of the area median income. The council greenlights an ordinance authorizing the issuance of $4 million for general obligation bonds for renovations to various fire stations and police precincts. The council says yes to an ordinance amending the city's Code of Ordinances to incorporate Georgia Code Section 25-5-14 Firefighters Mediation Act to allow City of Atlanta firefighters to negotiate terms of employment, including pay, benefits, hours, leave, job health, and safety policies through a collective bargaining process. The council votes in favor of an ordinance ratifying the mayor's executive order authorizing the transfer of up to $3.5 million from the city's uncommitted fund balance to Partners for Home to house people experiencing homelessness. For more recently approved legislation, please visit our website, citycouncil.atlantagaA.gov. This has been your Atlanta City Council Legislative Minute. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson. The Biden administration reveals its COVID-19 vaccination plans for children between the ages of 5 and 11, pending FDA approval. Administration officials say they have enough of the Pfizer vaccine for 28 million children, which would be administered at doctors' offices, pharmacies, and schools. The FDA is expected to authorize the vaccines for children in a few weeks. Health officials in the UK are concerned and are monitoring a new subtype of the Delta variant. The 1642 descendant accounts for about 6% of new cases, and they are increasing. Although there's little information about the variant, experts suggest it could be slightly more transmissible than the original Delta variant. Atlanta City Council member Marcy Collier Overstreet partners with several local organizations for a COVID-19 vaccination concert at Greenbrier Mall.
It's a COVID relief concert because we know that COVID is still in our communities. We know we have to vaccinate more people, and we're trying to figure out all ways to get that done. And so today, we have Morehouse School of Medicine administering all of the vaccinations, and we are letting people get vaccinations for first dose, second dose, boosters, whatever it takes for our communities to be very safe. We have food trucks here today, and the absolute best part of today is that we have the best talent. We have Kiki Wyatt, Tony Terry, Jukebox, Anthony David, and I'm partnering with the NAACP, Greenbrier Mall, and everyone to make sure that this is going to be a very successful vaccination day and that our community is having a good time. We are standing here at Greenbrier Mall, the legendary Greenbrier Mall, and today we're having a vaccination concert. It's a COVID relief concert because we know that COVID is still in our communities. We know we have to vaccinate more people, and we're trying to figure out all ways to get that done. And so today we have Morehouse School of Medicine administering all of the vaccinations, and we are letting people get vaccinations for first dose, second dose, boosters, whatever it takes for our communities to be very safe. We have food trucks here today, and the absolute best part of today is that we have the best talent. We have Kiki Wyatt, Tony Terry, Jukebox, Anthony David, and I'm partnering with the NAACP, Greenbrier Mall, and everyone to make sure that this is going to be a very successful vaccination day and that our community is having a good time. I see the lawn chairs and all of the food trucks, and I'm excited about it. Can't wait to get over and see the concert myself.
And 2, 3.
We're out here today in Pittsburgh community, of which I'm so proud to be in. And we actually took an old school that was Parks Middle School, and actually through Atlanta Public School System and Atlanta Tech, we now have our first official Atlanta Career Academy. And this academy is a preparation for college and careers. So with this school that's been converted for high school kids into an academy, from 10th through 12th grade, if you decide that you want to prep for college, or if you decide that you are now job ready, you want to be job ready and you want to go out and get a job, you can actually come here to this school. It's a beautiful collaboration, and they have so many programs, EMT programs, so many programs, culinary art, food, carpentry, HVAC, dental, hygienes, also personal care. When I finished high school, I knew that I didn't have money to go off to college. But what I liked that Booker T. Washington in the 70s had me job ready. So from the time I finished high school at Booker T. Washington, my counselors and folks at the school said, Joyce, if you're not going to college, we're going to have you job ready. That's what this academy is now doing. It's making kids who may not go to college. Everybody may not be college material. But if we can, in the high school, capture those folks and make sure that they're ready, job ready when they finish high school, that's what this program does. I want to thank Isha Collins and the Atlanta Board of Education for actually having a vision to do this. I'm happy to be here today.
One, two, three. Yay! We are rolling out a city-wide initiative. It's about recycling. We are at Community Grounds Coffee Shop, and that is appropriate because today is about paper cups going into your recycling bin. So everyone that has a blue bin in the city of Atlanta can now, when they come home with their coffee cup from Starbucks or Community Grounds, they can put their coffee cups in, they rinse them out, of course, and then they can put them in their recycle bin. So they will not go into the trash anymore. So what we're doing is we are taking things out of the green bin and putting more things into the recycling bin. So the city of Atlanta already takes a whole lot of things in the blue bin, but today is the kickoff of accepting paper cups. So it's exciting. Yes, it's very exciting.
afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today is Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. It's 1:30 p.m. I'm Jennifer I, the chair of the Finance Executive Committee of Atlanta City Council, and this is our regularly scheduled meeting. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I think we have with us today Council members Howard Shook, J.P. Matzekite, Joyce Shepard, and Matt Westmoreland. I'm having some issues with my e-boardroom, so I can't see our council members Andre Dickens and Natalie Archibald online yet. All right. Well, we have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Ms. Kempson-Wright, can you please read the remote meeting statement?
Yes, Madam Chair. This Finance Executive Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and is in accordance with the official code of Georgia, 5014-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by the following conference bridge: toll-free access 404-902-5066, conference ID 151945, which was noted on the Friday, October 22nd public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, City Council, AtlantaGA.gov, or the Council's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages via at ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Finance Executive Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on Friday, October 22nd via AtlantaCityGA.ICANN2. Public comment was accepted between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. on yesterday, Tuesday, October 26th. All persons present on the presentation conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen to view amendments, substitutes, and informational documents which were distributed to you earlier. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Kempson-Wright, and I've been told that Mr. Dickens has joined us. Yes, thank you for being with us, Mr. Dickens. We need to amend our agenda to accept one walk-in that came in from APD after we published the agenda, so I'm going to make a motion to do that.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on amending the agenda.
The vote is open.
Westmoreland, yes.
The motion to amend has been approved with 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Westmoreland, yes.
The vote is closed. Oh, you see it. I'm sorry.
I can see it now. My computer's back up. The agenda has been adopted as amended. 6 yeses, 0 noes. Make a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Howard in favor.
All right. The minutes have been adopted with 6 yeses and 0 noes. This takes us to our public comment. I believe we have one item of public comment today, so if we can play that.
Greetings, committee members and staff, and special greetings to you citizens and voters who have tuned to this Finance and Executive Committee meeting. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Item 3 on the agenda, Ordinance 21-0-0841, deals with $2.33 million worth of transportation impact fees to be used for the purpose of modernizing traffic signals, communication corridors, complete streets, intersection improvement projects, and to generally increase roadway system capacity. Hello there, NPUR 9. You just might want to get busy trying to ensure that NPUR residents are included in the $2.33 million allocation, while you and your so-called executive committee are busy trying to expel the NPUR chairperson in your dark, secretive, and selective ways. Finance is happening. So, Antonina Robinson, Colin Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Alvis White, Jeanette L. Scott, Allison Hathaway, Cheryl Brown, Sherry Williams, and your cohort Agent X, and you NPUR 9 supporters. Let's talk finance.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Howard. We do have 4 presentations today, but our airport GM, Mr. Biodari, has asked that we take one item so that he can get on to a meeting he has scheduled. So we are going to, before we do our presentations, we're going to jump all the way down to item number 24 and do that item first so Mr. Biodari can make his other commitment. Give me 1 minute. Item 24. Apologies. All right, here we are. Item number 24 is 21R 4149, which is a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a cooperative agreement for CPS 1220067 with GCR Inc. pursuant to sections 2-1602, 2-1604, and 2-1608 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to purchase airport business revenue management system software at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 5 years with 2 3-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $1,205,016.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. I will make a motion to approve and just note that even though this is over $1 million, the IPRO report is not required because it's under the cooperative purchasing agreement. Was there a second?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. Second by Shook. Let's open the vote. The vote is open.
Westmoreland in favor.
All right, this item is favorable with 6 yeses, 0 noes. Ms. Kempson-Wright, was that the only paper that the GM needed to be here for?
Yes, Madam Chair, that was the only one.
Okay. Well, good. We will go back up to Section G, our presentations and status reports, and start with the Department of Customer Service update.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Councilmember Ide and members of the Finance Executive Committee for having me here today. I'm Maisha Good, and I serve as the Interim Commissioner of the Department of Customer Service, ATL 311. First, I would like to just open up by sharing a reminder that ATL 311 is the City of Atlanta's primary contact channel for non-emergency services and information. Our operating hours are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And besides calling us directly on our 10-digit number, which is 404-546-0311, if you live in the City of Atlanta, you can also just dial 311. Also, you can visit us at atl311.com or go to social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're also on Nextdoor and C-Click6 to submit a case or request. You can also email us at atl311@atlantasga.gov. Next slide, please. Currently, we are at 94 full-time employees, and we have about 40 vacancies. Some of these vacancies are because we repurposed some of them. We repurposed 10 positions that will allow us to hire in the future. Also, we had some attrition from resignations, promotions, some terminations as well. But call centers are notoriously known to have a very high turnover rate. So on the national level, the turnover ranges between 30 and 40%. And when we reviewed our data, we are trending at about 21%. So it's still under the national level, and we're working to ensure that the attrition, the percentage lowers. So now I will discuss our metrics, what has happened over the last several months since we last came before you all, and then talk about the path forward. So slide 3, please. So what we've noticed, and particularly in 2021, our call volume has increased from what we've seen in previous years. So for beginning at March, we've noticed our volume is now over 50,000 calls coming in per month. We have seen some months where it was a little lower, like in May and even last month in September, but our highest call volume was in August. And also in August, what we saw was some attrition. Our attrition was very high during that time. And so typically with our staffing levels can handle about 25,000, 30,000 plus calls. As you can see here, in most of these months, the call volume was over $50,000 minus May and September. So after reviewing the data here, we have determined that we need at least 65 agents on the phone to handle the call volume that we're receiving. Right now, we're right about 40, but we are doing onboarding of new staff as well as we speak. Slide 4, please. So ATL 311 also supports supportive services, and this is where we receive calls to assist with pre-arrest diversion. And individuals here are offered referral assistance for things like wraparound care and services related to mental health, substance use, homelessness, and poverty. So here, since March, we have received over 6,000 calls, and we've been able to handle with a small team about 600 of those calls. Slide 5, please. The team also refers, as I mentioned, these individuals to outreach organizations, also to Policing Alternatives and Diverse Initiative, which we call PAD, and they help those individuals with services they need. What we've noticed here is in July, we had the highest numbers of referrals in July. Since January of this year, we've referred to PAD about 410 of those services, and to other outreach organizations, 454 total. Next slide, please. Slide 6. Our social media, we have seen an increase of followers this year, so we're over 10,000 followers. Our top 3 where we receive the most messages are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, with Twitter leading. And so for this year, we've seen also in this area an influx of messages as well. Slide 7, please. Now to talk about our cases. So in second quarter of this year, what we saw from April to June, our top 5 overall were the calls we received were related to 411 directory calls, where we transferred calls to certain individuals in the city. Bulk collection requests came in number 2. Number 3 was business license renewal. And 4 was property owner or renter request to establish new water and sewer bill account services. And lastly, water related as well, account information. So here you will notice, and I won't go through each of them fully, but for instance, DWM top was property owner or renter request to establish new water and sewer bill account services. For DPW during this quarter, their top was bulk collection request. For municipal court, their top was when is my court date and time. And for finance, business license renewal. And lastly, code enforcement, which the cases that were leading was around overgrown grass. In third quarter, what we realized, and slide 8, please, for third quarter from July to September, the overall cases that we received that was in the top 5, one still leading was 411 City of Atlanta directory, where we transferred individuals to folks in the city, to employees in the city. And then second was missed yard trimming. Third was bulk collection request. Fourth was water related around property owner or renter request to establish new water and sewer bill account services. And then lastly, business license renewal. For watershed, top 1 was property owner or renter request to establish new water and sewer bill account services. For DPW, missed yard trimming fled in that area. Municipal court, same, when is my court date and time. And finance, business license led in this quarter as well. And code enforcement, again, overgrown grass. Slide 9, please. On this slide, what you will see is some things that we were able to do during fiscal years 21 and 22. So we established the supportive services team. And so in June 21, this program became citywide. So every part of the city of Atlanta now is incorporated into this program, and we receive referrals from any council district. From March through September, this team referred over 767. From March through September, we saw, as I mentioned, 601 plus customers were referred directly to other services. And then in July 21, what we started to do, the supportive services team started scheduling beds for the homelessness community. In Everbridge, we started using that more frequently, especially around COVID-19 vaccination information, DPW service changes related to bulk reminders and any notifications to the public. We also assisted finance with business license renewal notifications and any service delivery operations as related to our employees. We were also sending out notifications as well. For data analytics and training, we standardized our reporting. So now it's easy reporting, it's automated, it's transparent, and we also share this data with departments, with city council as requested, and when we're out in the community with neighborhood planning units. We restructured new hire training to reflect our most needed skill set for the call center, especially being in a virtual environment. We work very closely with human resources, and they're helping us to streamline our onboarding process to make it easier and more effective, and in most cases, a little bit quicker. And we've reestablished our incentive and fund committee, and this is where we're trying to boost our team, the morale, just having some fun. Even though we're in a virtual environment, we still want to ensure that we're thinking about our employees first, especially during this time of the pandemic and so many other things that's going on. And lastly, as I mentioned before, we have surpassed our followers on social media, and we have attended over 163 neighborhood planning units and community meetings since March. On the last slide, what you will see is some actions we're doing to improve the center and in our department. So we have already started with hiring, onboarding. So we started onboarding end of September, and our last class, we have a class starting tomorrow, and our last class of this year will be December 2nd. And this is particularly targeted for the call center to ensure that we have enough agents to handle the call volume. And then when we move into the next year, the goal is to have quarterly onboarding classes with their priority goals to remain fully staffed. And so we will start doing that in March, and therefore every quarter thereafter. Also, we want to develop our teams. So we're going to do refresher leadership and professional development training classes that will be offered quarterly. And so we want to equip our staff with additional skill sets and knowledge and learning opportunities for growth, which is very important to me. Compensation study is in progress to assess our competitiveness and attrition. So the Department of HR is working with us on this. And also we're assessing our systems and processes to improve the customer experience. And, we're looking at our CRM system, the mobile app, any technology that a customer has to use, even our portal. We're looking at those to ensure that, it's easy for the customer, one, to understand how to use it and just improve our handle time with our customers and make it easier for our agents as well. So we're looking at it on both sides, from the customer experience and from our agent experience as well. And we collaborated with Department of Watershed Management and they created a new DWM Customer Support Center. And this is really to enhance our telephone support for billing inquiries. So now they've launched their contact center September 28th, where they're taking billing calls. And we also take a number of billing calls as well. And lastly, we partnered with finance to assist with their business license renewal season, especially, during the pandemic. It was an influx, and they also have a new system as well that our customers are using. So we wanted to make sure that we were on the front lines assisting them with processing those business license renewal as much as we can. Lastly, I would like to just thank my entire staff in the Department of Customer Service, HCL 311, for their dedication and hard work every single day. And next slide, please. Councilmember I, that concludes my presentation. Do I have any questions?
Thank you so much. Colleagues, any questions? All right. This is your chance. Do you have questions for customer service? Okay. Councilmember Shepherd, yes.
My question is, I'm getting a lot of calls, especially around the bulk pickup, where people are calling in and saying we need to bulk pickup. And then once we call in for bulk pickup, they give them a date. Then they say that, the trash has not been picked up. Here's what's going on. And then you all give them a date. 4 or 5 days later, 10 days later, 3 weeks later, the stuff hasn't been picked up. So when I talk to Public Works Department about it, they're saying, we're behind. So what we found is that you all are giving them arbitrary dates based on what? And I've already talked to the Public Works Department about it. I just want to make sure that when people are calling 311, because they were saying, 311 is giving us wrong information. And I'm out in community meetings, so people are saying, they gave us and said it was going to be picked up on that day, but now I said, I'm just going to be honest with you, they're behind. But why doesn't 311 know they're behind, and why are they giving us a date that we know for a fact that that's not going to happen? So I'm just giving you an example of that. I'm hoping that as we've now trued up our bulk pickup for leaves and stuff, that doesn't happen. But that's just something I just want to flag you all on, to be careful that you give dates. And if the department and you all are not thinking together, it may be something. And then what I hear in the community, people just screaming and hollering at me and saying, they just told a lie. 311 said this, and it didn't happen. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Shepherd. So the Commissioner Higgins and I, we will be meeting because the goal is to strengthen communication that we have, and we want to ensure all the verbiage that we share, we get that from our department. So we will actually be meeting very soon to ensure that what we're stating is correct. And we also want to set the expectation up front with the customer. So we'll make sure that the SLAs that are provided are indeed reviewed and corrected if need be with the department.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. That was a great presentation, and I think everybody will look forward to hearing sort of any updates on the public works fronts also, because that continues to be a place I hear from my constituents on getting accurate timing estimates on that. Well, thank you for being here today, and we appreciate your presentation. And now we are going to move on to the Department of Human Resources.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Ide and members of the Finance Executive Committee. This is Jeffrey Norman, Commissioner of the Human Resources Department, and I'm here today to present the Department of Human Resources quarterly report. We can go to slide 2. And so today just wanted to give the committee a snapshot of some relevant and priority issues that the Department of Human Resources has facilitated. We will start off and touch briefly on the COVID-2019 response, pandemic response, and then we will shift to department highlights and touch on a high overview of premium pay, the priority hiring blitz that we have engaged in. We'll talk a little bit about the EAP program. We will also talk about the successful implementation of the Oracle Learn module, and then we will speak a little bit to open enrollment for calendar year 22. We can go to, and we'll also provide the quarterly head count statistics. We can go to slide 3. And so the City of Atlanta has engaged in a self-certification process with our employee workforce and wanted to share with the City Council the current percentages for our workforce vaccination rates. As you will see, from a fully vaccinated perspective, we are currently looking at 63% of our employee population who is classified as fully vaccinated. We are also looking at a partial vaccination percentage for our employee base of 4%. That is that pool of individuals who have received a first shot of the COVID-19 vaccine or in the process of receiving their second shot. And then we have 2% of our workforce that has currently indicated that they have scheduled appointments to receive their first shot. And so that blink will bring us to a collective 69% of our workforce that is either currently vaccinated or in the process of receiving vaccination. We can go to slide 4. And so wanted to speak a little bit to the vaccination efforts that we continue to focus on for our employee workforce. The Department of Human Resources continues to work collaboratively and closely with the Mayor's Office of Emergency Preparedness to ensure that we are providing mobile on-site vaccination opportunities for our City of Atlanta workforce. You can see from the event chart that is listed here some of our efforts for the September and November time period. You will see that we have, during the month of September, already conducted 4 mobile on-site vaccination opportunities for members of our workforce. And you will further see that for the month of November, we will be having a seminal event here at City Hall on November 9th, where we will have on-site vaccination opportunities available. We will also have our health partners with Blue Cross Blue Shield, as well as Kaiser Permanente on site, so that they can provide educational materials as well as speak to some of the benefits that tag along from an incentive basis relative to COVID-19. Subsequent to the City Hall event, we will also be targeting a similar event at our public safety headquarters, and we will follow in course with the Parks and Recreation Department, and we will ultimately have a event at the airport. We have not yet scheduled that date, but we're in the process of making sure that we provide that opportunity at the airport. And just want everybody to know that that is an event that is available for all city employees, and family members are welcome to participate in those open vaccinations as well. We can go to slide 5. And so as part of encouraging our employees to move forward and ensure that they protect themselves during this pandemic period, the city has moved forward with the creation of an incentive program. And so currently the city has 2 incentives related to COVID-19. The first is for all city employees who receive their initial COVID-19 vaccination between September 15th and the end of the year. They are eligible to receive a one-time $100 incentive payment. All city employees who receive the COVID booster shot between October and 18th through the end of the year are likewise also eligible to receive a one-time $100 incentive payment as well. We can go to slide 6. And so just wanted to briefly go back and touch on the recent legislation that was passed by the City Council relative to temporary premium pay. So the City Council did approve a temporary premium pay program that will last through June 30th of 2022. Those payments are available for critical infrastructure employees. We have targeted the Departments of Public Works, Transportation, Parks and Rec, DEEM, as well as the Department of Corrections to ensure that those individuals are able to receive that additional benefit. And as was identified as part of the approved legislation, that funding is being provided under the American Rescue Plan Act. In summary, the premium pay, as identified, is an additional $3.12 upon an employee's normal rate of pay. That is the equivalent of approximately $500 per month. And we do anticipate that employees who have qualified for premium pay will see those first payments hit their check on the November 5th payroll cycle. We can go to slide 7. So just wanted to briefly speak to the great work that staff has provided in coordination with our departments relative to hiring efforts. There has been a significant amount of focus along with the leadership of the Chief Operating Officer and his office to ensure that we are able to support our operational departments from a service delivery standpoint. We have had discussions with City Council relative to staffing issues within the Department of Public Works, and I just wanted to kind of give you a snapshot of some of those efforts that have occurred during the last quarter. We initially started pushing out and operating hiring Blitz on behalf of the Department of Public Works at the end of July. And that was mainly targeted to make sure that we could ensure that we had the appropriate number of environmental service workers and CDL drivers to support operational delivery. Since we started those hiring Blitz, we have successfully hired 44 employees who are currently on board the back of vehicles and assisting with garbage pickup. We currently have 9 who have received offers, who have accepted those positions, are currently being onboarded onto the city. And we have another 20 individuals who have gone through the selection process, and we have tendered offers, and we are waiting to move those individuals forward through the onboarding process. And so from a general overview, that gives us about 73 folks for those who are on board and those we anticipate will be joining the city shortly, to ensure that we do have, from a staffing perspective, the level of personnel we need for a successful delivery within the Public Works Department. I do want to give a special thank you to all of the members of HR who have ensured that they have gone out, conducted these hiring blitz, and, continue to move the ball forward in that effort. We can go to slide 8. So the second priority area that the Department of Human Resources continues to help support, once again, under the leadership of the Chief Operating Officer and his office, as well as with all of the public safety agencies, is to ensure that we also continue to focus on making sure that we continue to aggressively recruit individuals within the public sector sphere. We did have a hiring blitz this past Saturday, October the 23rd. You'll see that we had 117 individuals who did show up for that hiring blitz. And of that 117 individuals, we did have 56 individuals who were able to successfully pass the physical agility test, which was provided on site. And so those individuals will continue to move forward through the background and recruitment process. And we look forward to successfully continuing to engage those individuals who are interested in joining the city to support our public safety service delivery. We can move to slide 9. So just wanted to, once again, provide awareness that as we continue to move through the pandemic, there continues to be stress, anguish, and lots of emotional issues that not only our employees have to deal with, but family members as well. And so we just want to reiterate the continued availability of our employee assistance program. Those services continue to be offered in an in-person capacity by our internal staff. We also have availability to meet with individuals in a virtual capacity, and we also field those interactions via telephone as well. So just want to reiterate the continued availability of our clinical staff. And if we can go to slide 10, just wanted to run through a couple of high-level metrics to give you a snapshot of the program's current utilization. And so on slide 10, you will see for the identified time period of April to August that the Division of EAP has received 876 service calls. You look at the percentage citywide, that's about 11% of our workforce population. And that means that, those individuals out of our total population are carving in and reaching out to make sure that they have support to deal with any type of challenges that they are experiencing. All of those non-crisis calls are received and returned, and contact is made with individuals within a 24-hour time period. For those where it is a critical incident or a crisis call, those calls are received 24/7, 365 days a year, and we do operate an on-call clinician program. And so all of those calls that are designated as critical incidents or crisis calls, those are responded to immediately. We can go to slide 11. And so you will see on slide 11 that out of those 876 service call requests between that same time period, that we would have admitted 296 of those callers into the EAP program. We would have referred 148 of those individuals out for external resources, meaning those are normally those incidents where we have identified a longer need for treatment, and those individuals are normally referred to outside vendors, and that is normally covered through members' respective healthcare benefit programs. We can go to slide 12. And so the last time we appeared before the committee, we talked a little bit about the rollout of the Oracle Learn module. And so that we kicked that program off in August of 2021. And so the system went live for mandatory training that would be pushed out to our entire workforce. Hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to see the active shooter, active attack, self-placed compliance training that was pushed out. And so to date, we have received a completion of 6,247 members of our workforce for that mandatory training, which is a percentage of 76.48% of our workforce. I will note that when you look at that remaining 24%, that tends to represent that part of our population, which is our blue collar pool, who does not traditionally have direct access through a computer interface. And those individuals will be trained either in an in-person capacity or a group setting, so that we can once again make sure that they receive same access and are able to successfully complete that mandatory training module. We have also pushed out our mandatory annual sexual harassment training, and so we will be able to report on the results of that during our next quarterly report, as well as some of the other training modules that are currently in the queue to be pushed out or are currently out there, so that we can report those completion metrics as well. We can go to slide 13. And so the city is approaching the open enrollment period for benefit selection. This is considered a passive enrollment year. The open enrollment period is scheduled to begin November 1st through the 15th. The actual link, benefits.atlantageorgia.gov, is currently live. So all updated materials relative to the calendar year 22 health benefits program are currently posted there. We have also mailed out those same materials in hard copies via the United States Postal System to our active population as well as our retiree population. And so those materials are available for those mailed to home addresses, and individuals can also go to the website, benefits.atlantageorgia.gov, to receive that information and get direction on how to complete any enrollment changes to the extent that those are applicable for calendar year 22. We can go to slide 14. And so slide 14 just gives a general head count overshot. And we are currently at 8,168 members of the workforce. And if you go to slide 15, that will give you the breakdown for the head count for each respective department. And with those statistics, that ends the Department of Human Resources quarterly report. And Councilmember Ide, we are available to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I want to recognize we've been joined by Councilmember Madeline Archibong, and then I know Mr. Shook had his hand up first.
Yeah, thank you. Commissioner, do APD have their vacation time carry over for 2021 earned time?
So we did previously pass, and I believe it was back in August, we did pass two pieces of legislation. And so we had two pieces of legislation that passed regarding annual carryover. One dealt with the accrued time for 2019, and the second piece dealt with 2020. And so for that 2019 time, that was carried out through the end of December. For 2020, that accrual was carried over to the end of this fiscal year, which would run through through the end of June for 2022. And so we have not passed any legislation relative to accruals for the 21 year as of yet, but we will definitely evaluate based on all of the accrued time, whether we need to move forward with that, with an additional piece of legislation for the 21 year as well.
Okay, well, thank you. Given that has probably become an expectation, at least over the last couple of years, I'm hoping that HR will take the lead in, promoting a continuation of that. Otherwise it'll be left to council to do. But your comments on that?
And we'll definitely go back, and you can anticipate we'll have those discussions and be prepared to either provide legislation or move forward with that for the next cycle.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Shook. Let me see who else. Councilmember Shepherd.
Mr. Norman, I yesterday I was at the utility meetings talking to Commissioner Wiggins about this. So we know the raise that we just gave, the premium raise we just gave for employees, have they been notified? Because I was talking to a public works worker this weekend who lives in my community, and he was saying, well, they told us at our last payroll paycheck that we would have the $3.12 raise, which brings them up to $18.12, but they don't have it. I explained to him, which I didn't know all the specifics of. I said, well, typically it takes a minute before you all can make that happen. And that if they said that it was going to be effective at a certain time, that it will go up to, it'll be retroactive back. So I just heard you say that the actual pay increase or premium pay would actually be in effect in November, but it will be retroactive back to what date?
So thank you for the question, Councilmember Shepherd. And so this body passed the premium pay, which was ultimately approved through the mayor. And so that legislation became final on October the 13th. And so we did work in coordination with the Department of Finance to make sure that we could appropriately configure the system to fix the $3.12 on individuals' pay rate. And so, yeah, we have received confirmation that configuration and testing was completed, and that employees will start seeing premium pay on their November 5th payroll check. And so obviously the new payroll period started on October 14th, so they will see premium pay October 14th forward, and that will be November 5th. I did provide, and my discussion with those impacted commissioners was probably, we got that confirmation probably after you had the discussion with Commissioner Wiggins, but I have provided them with updated information relative to the sequencing of the pay cycles and all of those eligibility requirements to push out to their respective, workforces.
I just want to make sure that we did it in a way that employees are getting the right information about it. As I said to Commissioner Wiggins yesterday at the committee meeting, is that some folks didn't even believe they were going to get the raise, and then I told them they were, and then they were saying, okay. A couple other folks said, well, we thought we were going to get it in our last pay period. So I'm just saying, in terms of going forward, we need to make sure that we communicate loud and clear to the employees what's happening, so that it seems to be a mistrust anyway, and it's great we're giving them raises and doing all these things, and we advocated for it, but let's make sure we give them the correct information. So I'm hoping as we go forward that we will continue to work with the different divisions to make sure this information is getting to the employees.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Councilmember Shepherd. And we did provide the commissioners with flyers so that they could do that. We did provide those. That was either Tuesday or yesterday, to make sure that they could have those printed, posted, and available as handouts at each work site, so folks can be fully informed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Shepherd. Anyone else have questions for HR? All right. Well, thank you, Commissioner, for being here with us and for the update. We're going to now move on to Invest Atlanta's third quarter update. Do we have Dr. Expenditures with us, or somebody else from Invest Atlanta?
I'm sorry. I think I was just getting off of mute. Hi, this is,
Hi.
Thank you, Council Chair. Sorry about that. This is Dr. Eloisa Clementich. Thank you for having me today, Council Chair and Council members, to talk about the great news happening at Invest Atlanta. And recognizing your time, I will go through this, but if there's anything you'd like me to deep dive on, please advise. Next slide number 2. So here what this shows you is a list of all the Invest Atlanta activity for Q3. And what we've done is we've shaded the different dots by our program so you can get a sense of the impact that we're having here at Invest Atlanta. So you'll see that we had 249 webinar home ownership events. So we continue to be very active, even if we're not in person, and really ensuring that people are hearing about our down payment assistance program alongside with our small business events as well. And our down payment assistance is really proving to date we've had about 49 of those in the city. We work on our attraction cases, a number of companies we attract in, but more importantly, we're spending a lot of time on our business retention and expansion. We want to ensure that businesses that are currently here in the city continue to be strong and being successful here in our great city. Next slide. I'm going to deep dive now into the 2 departments, which is community development on slide 3. We've had 11 multifamily housing projects. 7 of them were multifamily, and 4 of those projects were CAD. The number of affordable housing units is 1,117 for Q3. Again, as mentioned before, 49 down payment assistance. We've had 10 TAD grants and 3 new market tax credit activity. All these projects together represent a total capital investment of over $318 million in our city, which represent a total economic output. That means indirect, induced, and indirect of $503 million for the city of Atlanta. Next slide 4. Here, I just wanted to highlight and give you a sense of some of the projects that you're going to see online in terms of multifamily. We were able to approve, the board was able to approve at Invest Atlanta 1265 Lakewood at Shows Park. Again, this was a $34 million transaction, which included about $16 million in a tax-exempt bond and a great partnership with the Beltline, $1 million TAD allocation from the Beltline TAD. Here, what we're going to see is 160 units for affordable senior housing, and we think that's important for what we're seeing in terms of change in the city. The second is the Hollywood Shawnee at Allman Park. This will be a HUD HAP contract for 81 units. And why do I mention that? Because this means that no resident will pay more than 30% of their income for rent. And so we're excited about what the impact will mean to those families. And in addition, we're going to have 112 acquisition and rehab of 112 units of affordable housing. And that last one on that picture is the Northwest Atlanta Scattered Sites land acquisition in the Perry Bolton TAD. This was $2.6 million of a forgivable loan from the Perry Bolton tax allocation, which is going to help and feature single-family options in Cary, Allman, and Grove Park neighborhoods. Again, it's an area we know there's a lot of pressure for, and so we think the 65 housing units and 10 rental units that we're going to have created here are going to be important for the stability of our legacy residents in the city of Atlanta. That takes us to slide number 5. One of my most favorite programs is our down payment assistance program, and here we've seen 49 down payment assistance programs representing awards of $702,000 and first total amount in mortgages of $11 million, and that is only for Q3. Next slide, in slide 6, we see that we are specifically looking toward economic development. Again, we've talked about the importance of community development, economic development, about jobs, how we are creating jobs and opportunities for all Atlantans. And so the total number of jobs created and retained was 7,985. The capital investments of our project, $706 million. And most importantly, the total economic output is about $2.3 billion. So again, seeing a lot of activity on our business development side of the house. Next slide. To highlight some of that, some of the biggest announcements that I'm sure you've heard of, Penske, again, was able to support and create an additional 57 new middle wage jobs in the south side of Atlanta, so we're excited to see that. You heard the excitement around Visa and their expansion of 1,000 new jobs in our city, and our business retention win of Oxos Medical, which this really was 84 new jobs that will be created before 2022. Our small business loan program continues to be very active. We have 27 loans approved, 11 in progress, 6 closed, one of them being Avery. And so this is Avery is a beauty and wellness, focused on skincare, and we're excited about what they're going to be doing in our Summer Hill neighborhoods. The next slide, slide number 8. I just want to take a second here to say how proud I am of the team, the Atlanta Emerging Markets Inc., which is a separate entity created it's called the CDE, and we're in part of Atlanta, but really is on its own. They were able to win $50 million allocation. Why is this so important? This is a national competition. There were over 100 CDEs that were competing, and only 2 were awarded in the state of Georgia, us being one of them. And so we're excited about what this means for the city, continual growth, continual investment in these areas. Let me just give you a sense of the things the New Markets has invested in. We did the Goodwill of North Georgia Center, again, a workforce innovation center that's going to be opening there on University. Excited about what that will do for training and upskilling. Restoration House, the low barrier homeless shelter. There's also another project that we're looking at. And then Quest West Side Impact Center. If you've been there, it's a beautiful location. It was another huge investment for the New Market Tax Credit. So again, continue to look at significant projects that move the needle, make a difference for our city. Next slide, slide number 11. Do also want to provide an update to you on the Women's Entrepreneur Initiative, WE. This has really been an opportunity for us to support women entrepreneurship. Specifically in the time post-COVID, we see women are being adversely impacted as a result of COVID. So we have really focused here what we can do to support women. And so you'll see the number of jobs our program has been able to help under the leadership of Monica Hooks, 54 jobs, really. And if you think about, we also track in this particular case for the we look at contract workers. A lot of our startup women are going to bring on their employees through contracts. So 639 jobs that we've been able to focus on here. And so excited about what that will continue to mean for the Women's Entrepreneur Initiative. Next slide, slide number 10. We've been focused on 4 areas: grants, certifications, resources for women. In terms of grants, want to publicly again thank the Atlanta Hawks Foundation for their support with the tech tip-off. This was a pitch competition that we were able to use their funds for to support and focus on women. We have relationships and partnerships with risk on creating certification. So we want to make sure women are not only run by a women-owned business, but that they're certified as such so they can compete under that designation. So we're working on a certification process for these women. And in terms of resources, let's go to that next slide, slide 11. This is one of the resources that we've done. Women in the Workplace really was a conference. It's over several weeks of where we're focused on women in terms of economic mobility, mental health, entrepreneurship, family, childcare, capital investment, resources, all of the things that are needed to make a woman successful in their entrepreneurship endeavors. So that gives a nutshell of what we're doing on the Invest Atlanta front in terms of economic community development. And I'm going to ask my colleague Jennifer Fine to talk about and provide a TAD update for Finance Committee. Jennifer? Star 5, Jennifer, to get off mute. There you go, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Again, this is Jennifer Fine. I'm going to give you the third quarter programmatic TAD update. Next slide, please. So as I do each quarter, I want to identify all 10 TADs, and that Invest Atlanta is still committed to not funding new projects in either the Atlantic Station or Princeton Lakes TADs. As directed by council, all proceeds, which is TAD increment now, will be pledged to outstanding debt obligations. Next slide, please. So I'm really proud of this slide and would just like to point out a few reasons why. Number one, the range of projects, the scale of projects, big and small, the different types of uses and locations of projects throughout the city of Atlanta. From January 2021 through the end of September of this year, 22 projects or programs and 8 TADs were awarded funding. Nearly $32 million in TAD increment will be allocated to leverage nearly $314 million in private investment and development. These projects focus on affordable and workforce residential, both rental and for sale, office, retail, and small business improvements, which is an area of focus for us, and hopefully quarter over quarter you will see us kind of ramp up activities there. So of particular interest, of the 1,201 housing units represented, 921 of those, or 77%, are affordable. So that's definitely a percentage that we're very proud of. Next slide, please. This is the detailed compilation of all projects and program approvals by month during the first 3 quarters in 2021. It provides specific details that I highlighted in the previous slide, and I'll continue to provide this quarterly as a resource for you, kind of as a standalone document that identifies the specific project details for projects receiving TAD awards. So the next few slides will provide visuals for projects that were approved for TAD funding this past quarter. They exemplify the variety of projects receiving TAD funding assistance. Next slide, please. The top image is Skyline Apartments in the Beltline TAD on Hank Aaron Drive near the Beltline Southside Trail. This is a $30 million new construction project, which will create 250 units of affordable multifamily housing with rents offered at no more than 60% of area median income. So for reference, a 1-bedroom unit would be offered at no more than $812 per month. So this project is estimated to be completed in 2023. The bottom image is Henderson Place Apartments in the Old Fourth Ward in the East Side TAD. This project is a partnership between the owner, the Historic Downtown Development Corporation, and Mercy Housing Southeast. It's a nearly $20 million investment and will create 76 units of affordable multifamily housing, in addition to ground floor retail with a neighborhood grocer as the intended tenant. This project received a $3.1 million Eastside TAD grant and is expected to be completed also in 2023. Next slide, please. Parkview Townhomes will create 70 for-sale townhomes in the Vine City neighborhood overlooking Cook Park in the West Side TAD. 21 of these homes will be permanently affordable through a partnership with the Atlanta Land Trust. This $20 million project was awarded a $2 million West Side TAD grant to allow for much-needed single-family home ownership affordability in perpetuity through the land trust model. And I can't stress the importance of that. Trying to get a foothold on affordable for-sale housing is very challenging, and we are definitely ramping up our activities with the Atlanta Land Trust and hope to do more projects with them as well. The image on the bottom is the Proctor, new residential and commercial construction in English Avenue, also in the West Side TAD. This will be new construction of 132 rental apartments, 6 for-sale live-work units, and about 10,000 square feet of neighborhood commercial. 32 of the rental units and all 6 of the for-sale will be affordable. This project received a $3.2 million West Side TAD grant and is also estimated to be complete in the summer of 2023. Next slide, please. Local successful business, King of Pops, was awarded a $200,000 facade improvement grant to do significant exterior renovations to its headquarters building on Decatur Street in the East Side TAD. This space will ultimately include additional retail space and public gathering space for the neighborhood. It represents just shy of a $350,000 investment and is estimated to be complete by the end of January next year. The image on the bottom is Jacob Auto at 2295 Ben Hill in the Campbellton Road TAD. This business has been operating since 1998, so we're thrilled to have been able to award them a $20,000 small business improvement grant so they can make needed interior and exterior improvements. Represents a $30,000 project, which should be completed early next year. Next slide, please. And then lastly, these 2 projects were awarded East Side TAD grants to help finance public infrastructure projects within the Sweet Auburn neighborhood in partnership with Atlanta Downtown Improvement District, the Old Fourth Ward Business Association, HDDC, and Sweet Auburn Works. The Sweet Auburn Infrastructure Initiative received a $2.5 million East Side TAD grant to do streetscape, sidewalk, and open space improvements, as well as design and engineering work. Sweet Auburn Works also received a $200,000 grant to complete the design and master planning for Hero Walk. This will be a curated pedestrian experience weaving together the Atlanta Beltline East Side Trail and Freedom Parkway with MLK National Historical Park and the historic Oakland Cemetery, telling the compelling story of Atlanta's Black heroes, past and present. So very excited for those 2 infrastructure projects in Sweet Auburn neighborhood, which is an area of focus for us within the East Side TAD. And I think that concludes my slides, and I believe we're going to hear from compliance.
Yes, so here on the compliance, we have 25 multifamily housing projects, including 20 new housing projects that are part of our compliance program. That will include 3,695 multifamily units, 1,820, which is 49% of the total TAD multifamily affordable housing. This is important. The reason we're bringing this up, just so that you see that once a project goes through the TAD function or even a housing opportunity, that on the compliance front, we're ensuring that the developer is really delivering on what was promised at the beginning. So we continue to follow these projects. There are lastly 4 new TAD multifamily projects that have been leased up and that we are monitoring. Next slide, slide 21. Here we are, two pieces of the American Rescue Plan we just wanted to highlight is we are aggressively working to get the funds out for the American Rescue Plan. There are currently some RFPs that are on Invest Atlanta's website that will address the workforce component and the small business component. for a total delivery of $24.7 million is what we're trying to get out as soon as we can, probably within over, I'd say, 2 years. And the small business component, what the thought is we have gone to an RFP seeking those to support us with technical assistance. We want to have the technical assistance providers out in the field first to provide support to businesses as they apply should they want. So we're seeing that a little bit different than when we did it with CARES. And then lastly, we're working on the workforce development component piece, which is also an RFP to try to get individuals from vulnerable populations hired into good middle wage jobs. And one of those will be some of the jobs at the City of Atlanta. So both of those, I'd say anyone's listening, if you're interested, we have about 4 RFPs on our website today seeking support in both of these programs and implementation. And we'll come back with a full report as we progress more on ARP dollars. And with that, to close this out, it will be Amy who's going to very quickly go through an update on WorkSource Atlanta. Amy.
Thank you, Eloisa. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Council Chair and members of the committee. I'm Amy Lancaster King. I'm the new Executive Director for WorkSource Atlanta, new as in 3 months in. I'll be providing a quarterly update. This is our first quarter of our program year. Our program year does run from July 1 to June 30, so this will just be for the first quarter of our program year. Next slide, please. Just an update on performance so far this quarter or this year. We've got adults served, dislocated workers served, and youth served for a total of about 417 with all populations combined. New enrollees for those 3 populations is 115, and services provided 422. Again, that is just for this quarter. If you annualize those numbers, it looks like we're on track to beat definitely 2020 numbers, if not 2019, which is great. Last year, we were severely impacted. We're still clawing out of that with the pandemic. The one area that we've got to work on is the adults enrolled, and we are doing that by increasing capacity for our staff in order to serve more people, as well as expanding access to our services. Next slide, please. The key for expanding access is we're doing more community outreach, especially I want to highlight the APS Back to School Bash, the Grove Park Back to School Bash. We also participated in partnership with the Women in the Workplace Roundtable and the Praise in the Park event that was just a few weeks ago, in addition to other events, but trying to partner with those other organizations in the community that can provide referrals for us. You may have heard some ads on the radio, on Radio 1 or Odyssey, regarding targeted outreach for our Encore program. We're also part of a regional workforce initiative, atlworks.org, which is a site that there is targeted outreach around with social media across the region, but for the City of Atlanta residents, they can go through that portal and still get directed appropriately to us to get serviced. We're also trying to cultivate affiliate sites with partners. Our location is at 818 Pollard. That's one site, but there's a lot of ways that we can be more accessible to people throughout the community, and doing that through co-locations with Westside Works, GDOL at their Cortland location, Atlanta Technical College, and Georgia Builds and Trades Academy. The goal is to have someone that rotates to various sites across the city, and then also leveraging our mobile unit to do the same. And then the most important piece, we've been able to service a lot of people virtually, but reopening to the public will be key. We're planning to do that by appointment only starting middle of November. Next slide, please. Our WorkSource partner, the One Stop Center, normally they would have people come in and leverage the resource library. Obviously, that hasn't been possible with our location being closed. We expect to see these numbers go up as we are open back up to the public. There still has been a lot of services provided and referrals made, even though all of the things have been delivered on a virtual format. Again, with the other things that we talked about on the last slide around increasing access and increasing enrollment, we do expect these numbers to rise quickly as we start to do that. Next slide, please. This last slide is regarding our current training accounts. As we currently have 28 customers enrolled in training. These are called individual training accounts, and they can be up to $7,000 for the first year of training and $3,000 for the second year of training, for a total of $10,000 in training. The list on your right is just a sample of the training accounts that we have in place so far. Again, we expect these numbers to increase substantially by adding more ITAs specifically for youth, around 350,000 just for youth, as well as increasing the number of ITAs available for adults and dislocated workers. And sorry, I'm an acronym person, and I apologize to ITAs again, individual training accounts. The last piece that I don't have a slide on is just around the spend goal for this year. We do have a significant amount of carryover from 2020, but we have to spend that by June of 2022. So combined with the current program year and previous, we've got $4.1 million, but I think we are on track to do that and building out the additional capacity and the additional access in order to increase the participation and therefore the number of money we can spend on training accounts as well as supportive services. And lastly, I just want to thank the team. We have been short-staffed here for a little bit and are working very hard and diligently. And as you can see, our first quarter numbers to be outpacing last year, and while still in this pandemic, they've done a lot of wonderful work, and I appreciate everything that they bring to the organization every day. With that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if needed.
That includes all of ours, Chair. Thank you. Thank you so much. Colleagues, does anybody have any questions? That was a lot. All right. Well, that was great information. We really appreciate everything that you're doing over at Invest Atlanta, and thank you for coming and being with us today. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I don't have a question, but I just want to co-sign as I finish up my second year on the Invest Board, the incredible work that team is doing, and the new team at Workforce. Things are really and genuinely moving in a great and positive direction. So thanks to both of you.
That is what I have heard from you over the last 2 years. You've been really impressed with the hard work over there. So thank you again to the entire Invest Atlanta team. Our last presentation today before we get to our legislative agenda is our COVID-19 funds report with Mr. Deloche.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Sure can. We're ready.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. On slide 2, there is no change. It just sets out the report. Good afternoon, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Jerry Deloche. I'm the Chief Risk Officer for the City of Atlanta, and I'm going to present our COVID-19 report for the month of October. On slide 2, there is no change. It just sets out our reporting requirements. On slide 2, it is a list of all the federal funds we have received. It is updated to reflect an increase of $7.2 million for additional emergency rental assistance. Slide 4, please. Slide 4 is our CRF breakdown and obligation. It shows that we have received $88.4 million. Thus far, we have obligated costs of $85.7 million, our actual costs of $84.6 million, and we have an available balance of $2.6 million. The available balance means that those funds have been allocated, but they have not been obligated by the respective department. Next slide, please. This is our emergency rental assistance obligation and spend breakdown. It shows our funded amount as being $27 million, and that includes the new $7 million that we recently received. Our obligated cost at this point is $15.12 million. Our actual costs are $12.6 million. And we have an available balance of $12 million that we are currently working to disperse through United Way. Next slide, please. This is our American Rescue Plan obligation and spend breakdown. It reflects that we have received $85.4 million. We have obligated costs of $10.4 million. Excuse me, that's a typo. There should be $60.4 million. We have actual costs of $1.3 million, an available balance of $74.9 million. The next slide is FAA spend breakdown details. These are funds administered by the Department of Aviation. It shows that we have received $338.5 million from the Federal Aviation Administration. The Department of Aviation has obligated $210.5 million. They have actual costs which reflect $210.5 million, and they have an available balance of $128 million to spend. Next slide, number 8, please. This is the Emergency Solution Grant spend breakdown details. The funded amount that we've received is $12.7 million. Our obligated cost is $3.5 million. Our actual costs reflect the same amount, $3.5 million. And there's an available balance of $9.17 million through the Emergency Solution Grant. Community Development Block Grant spend breakdown for COVID-19. We have received $4.2 million. We have obligated costs of $2.7 million. And we have actual costs of $2.7 million with an available balance of $1.5 million. On the Housing Opportunity for People with AIDS grant for COVID-related activities, we have received $3.3 million. Our obligated costs are $32,000, and our actual costs are $32,000, with an available balance of $3.3 million. Next, slide number 11. We have the Atlanta Police Department grant for COVID-related activities. Spend breakdown. The funded amount is $1.38 million. Our obligated costs are Our obligated costs are $20,000, with the actual cost being $20,000, and there's an available balance of $1.36 million for that particular grant. It should be noted that all of the grants I've stated this afternoon, we work closely with Grants Accounting to make sure that our tracking and their records are in alignment, and we report that they are in alignment. Next, slide number 12. It is the nonprofit and philanthropic organizations. There is no change to this slide as it was previously reported out. Next slide, please, which is slides 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. As required by legislation 20-R37, 87, and 20-R3914, we provide a breakdown of donations received. For the particular quarter that we're in now, we have received $14,000 in in-kind contribution to the Atlanta Fire Foundation for storage for our PPE supplies that are stored at the location. And the details regarding each of those donations is attached. I'd like to draw your attention to slide number 18, which is our expenditure report reflected as required by council. We break down our budget expenditures on the left hand in the middle column, and the funding for each of those sources for the expenditures is located in the far right column. I'd like to point out that for thus far, we have spent $949,485.28 in terms of expenditures. And if you will look on the right-hand side, it reflects that those expenditures are divided between CARES, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, American Rescue Plan Act, FEMA, and as well as city funds to be determined, and that it balances out in terms of our expenditures and our funds. Of significance that I want to point out that since the last report, the only two large expenditures that we have had has been for $1 million through the Atlanta Development Authority, Invest Atlanta, to sponsor and to support the Elevate Atlanta program for the arts community. And we have disbursed $1.5 million to United Way for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. As a note, although not a part of this particular report, we are in the process of applying for 2 additional grants. As you all are aware, the state announced a law enforcement and first responder supplemental grant, and we are in the process of applying for that for our employees. The second grant that we're in the process of applying for is that U.S. Treasury is making available additional resources for emergency rental assistance, and we are in the process of applying for additional emergency rental assistance above the $27 million that we received in FY22. Okay? That concludes the report, and I will take any questions if there are any.
colleagues, does anybody have any questions about the COVID report? All right. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Deloche, and we will see you next month. Ms. Kempson-Wright, can you read in our ordinances for a first read, please?
Yes. Item number 1 is 210839, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute the Fourth Amendment to a cooperative purchasing agreement, CPS 1200570uwork.com, doing business as Convendants On-Call IT Professional Services with uwork.com Incorporated, doing business as Convendants on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management, retroactively effective from August 12, 2020, to add funding in an amount not to exceed $566,518.00 in accordance with Section 21163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed. Item number 2 is 210840. It's an ordinance authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute Amendment number 7 for FC 5597, Citywide Elevator and Escalator Services with Ice and Krupp Elevator Corporation on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Asset Management, Atlanta Police Department, Department of Aviation, Department of Corrections, Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Public Works, and Department of Watershed Management to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a term period of up to 7 months beginning November 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2022, in accordance with Section 21163, subsection C of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, in an amount not to exceed $237,483.58. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund numbers listed within. Item number 3 is 210841. It's an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer or his designee to amend the fiscal year 2022 General Government Capital Outlay Fund budget on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation by transferring between projects a sum of $2,333,495 in transportation impact fees for use under FC 9661, Transportation Infrastructure Construction Services with Oshka Group Incorporated, Braswell and Gorey LLC, C.W. Matthews Contracting Corporation Incorporated, E.R. Snell Contractor Incorporated, and Pittman Construction Company, and FC 9662, Transportation Infrastructure Construction Services with Oshka Group Incorporated, Braswell and Gorey LLC, C.W. Matthews Contracting Company Incorporated, E.R. Snell Contractor Incorporated, Pittman Construction Company, Precision 2000 Incorporated, and Stewart Brothers Incorporated for the purpose of modernizing traffic signals, communication corridors, complete streets, and intersection improvement projects to increase roadway system capacity. And item number 4 is 210842. It's an ordinance authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to execute all appropriate documents that would grant a utility easement of 750 square feet across the real property known as 2041 Delano Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30317, land lots 205 and 206 of District 15 of Fulton County, Georgia, also known as Bessie Branham Park, to Georgia Power Company for the purposes of installing underground power distribution facilities in an amount not to exceed $23,000, waiving Real Estate Procurement Code Article 10, Subdivision 3, Sections 21571 and 21572 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kempton-Wright. All right, taking us to Section I, which is our first item is item number 5, 210789, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to amend Chapter 114, Personnel, Action 4, Classification Plan of the Code of Ordinances, City of Atlanta, Georgia, so as to provide for certain position abolishments, creations, reclassifications, class creations, above entry authorizations, employee position transfers, position funding, allocation changes, and other personnel actions in line with the FY 2022 budget and for other purposes. And I believe we have a substitute that we need to bring forward first. I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on that.
The vote is open.
Ms. Kempton-Wright, if you can read the vote for me when it comes in, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And this is
Dickens is a yay.
Yes.
Dickens is a yes.
One moment. Councilmember Mazzacite?
Yes.
Thank you. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before you.
All right, Mr. Norman, can you tell us what this paper does?
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Ide. And so this personnel paper reflects 583 actions. The majority of the paper provides budget neutral shifts. What the one thing that I will note, you'll see that the close to the majority of the transactions are relative to adjustments being made within the Department of Aviation. And so as the department, to a little bit of a larger scale, much like the other departments, have really spent some time to take a look at making sure that they have appropriately aligned their resources. They're looking at factors such as market competitiveness, career progression, to ensure that they can continue to attract, develop, and retain essential employees across all classifications. And so that is why, as we have seen within all departments, the need for some employees to shift to pick up additional responsibilities. The majority of the transactions do reflect reclassifications across the board. And so that is the main purpose of this paper, to make sure that we can assist departments in making sure that they continue to have that correct alignment within each department. And that is the main purpose of this paper.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Norman, Commissioner Norman? Otherwise, I will make a motion to adopt on substitute.
Okay, yeah, Shook. So what's in the substitute that's different from what I reviewed in the original?
And so there were a couple of additions that departments, as they continue to go through, added, so that there was a very minimal number of things. So I know that there were a couple of positions, for example, within Dean, and I think it was only one position from Dean that was added. And I think we had a couple of other reclasses that came in after we had originally submitted the paper. But they all are in alignment with those that were previously part of the original piece of legislation.
Okay, and these transactions are all budgeted?
That is correct.
But, so help me out in terms of understanding kind of the nomenclature. When I see, it's an equity transaction, what does that mean? That's male-female, that's between enterprise funds, what is that?
And so when we talk about the equity, internal equity, that is normally where we look at, making sure that from a compensation perspective, it is really more geared toward incumbents in positions. It's not necessarily based on gender or those demographics, but it is making sure that you have equity amongst the workforce, responsibility and assignments and job duties and things of that nature, and to make sure that proper alignment exists, that is where you would have those types of transactions.
Second, thank you.
Thank you. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Jenkins is a yay.
Archibald, yes.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute.
again. You might be muted.
Apologies, everyone. I got dropped. This item is favorable on substitute, 7 yeses, 0 noes. Takes us to the next item. Give me 1 second. Knocked off. Our next item is item number 6, which is 21-0790, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to enter into amendment number 2, City of Atlanta Wellness Center with FC 9275A, HealthStat Inc., and FC 9275B, Kaiser Foundation Health Plan of Georgia Inc., to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period of up to 9 months, effective October 29, 2021 through July 28, 2022, on behalf of the Department of Human Resources in an amount not to exceed $704,011.83 in accordance with Section 2-1163, solicitations or awards in violation of law, subsection C, remedies after award of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, all kinds of work to be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And Commissioner Norman, can you give us an update on where we are with the RFP for the Wellness Center? Because it feels like we've been talking about this for a minute now.
Thank you, Councilmember Ide. And I've asked our employee of our Director of Employee Benefits to join us today, to Daryl Bates, so he can speak to this legislation. To Daryl?
Is Mr. Bates with us?
Madam Chair, he is currently not on the presentation conference bridge.
Okay. Thank you. I can answer your question, Councilmember Ide. And so, relative,
can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we hear you today.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Good afternoon to everyone. The RFP, we were requested and approved for an extension for up to 9 months so that we can get through the procurement process. The trigger package has been completed so that we can go ahead and get that done. Once we put that RFP out, then we can bring in the proponents and then we can start the grading process. We extended it for that 9 months so that way we can make certain we get through, if we had any hiccups or whatever, we still had enough time so that we can get everything taken care of. So we're in the process of getting that done.
Okay. Well, if I remember right, we already extended this for 12 months last year to allow for the RFP. So what's been the delay that we need another 9 months now?
I think that RFP was up in, I believe it was July, and then, of course, we had the transition of Mr. Amos leaving the organization. So I asked for the additional time so that I can get everything taken care of.
All right. Well, Commissioner, can you speak to what happened last year? Because we did 21-0-16-12 that gave us 9 months to get this process going, and it doesn't really sound like much happened during that 12-month extension.
So I'm taking a look here, and so I can definitely go back, but it appears that we did engage with the Department of Procurement to ensure that we move forward. I do know as part of the process relative to HealthStat that there were also some there were some internal changes relative to I think the ownership of that organization, but we have been working with the Department of Procurement to push this forward. And so, once again, as Mr. Bates indicated, we have come to the point where we are ready to move forward with that RFP process. And I think that part of it was just some of the challenges that, we have seen across the organization relative to some of the responsiveness during the pandemic period. So definitely understand the concerns about the timeliness of this. But we are at that point to push out the RFP so we can hopefully get that accelerated and completed as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I want to understand a little bit during the 12 months that we gave you all, previously to get this done. Was an RFP put out? Were there responses, or just really none of that happened?
No, an RFP has not gone out for the Wellness Center during that 12-month period.
Okay, that's really disappointing that with a 12-month extension, we didn't even get the RFP out. Do you all feel confident that in 9 months, because it's really, now become a 21-month extension to get this done, you all feel confident in 9 months we can get this done and we're not going to be waiving the code again in 9 months?
Based on the discussion, based on my understanding of the discussions that was shared with me, I am confident that we should be able to accomplish that within a 9-month period.
Okay. Well, I'm not happy about that. There was 12 months to get this done, and it doesn't seem like much got accomplished. So, if you can really work with procurement to make sure that this is tight and quick, and we're not extending this out again, because
No, I will definitely.
That's not. We should only be waiving the code where there's extenuating circumstances, and this just feels like, people just didn't get the work done. I'm not hearing any real extenuating circumstances of, why the original 12-month extension didn't get us to where we needed to be.
No, I definitely share your concerns and understand the comments, and I will personally commit to work directly with the Chief Procurement Officer to make sure that this is, prioritized and moved forward swiftly with making sure that we get through this process.
All right. Well, I'll begrudgingly make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All right. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
That was Westmoreland, and Mr. Shook probably doesn't want to be listed as the seconder.
Dickens is a yay.
Archibald, yes. One moment.
Do we have Mr. Dickens?
Dickens, yay. Dickens was a yay.
All right. This item's favorable. 7 yeses, 0 noes, and hopefully.
Question. Who was the seconder?
I thought this was Westmoreland.
I was. My screen showed
yes.
was not the case for the reasons the chair enumerated, so I just want to get that straightened out.
Yeah.
The final vote has been updated to reflect Councilmember Westmoreland as the seconder, and it should be showing on your screen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope this one does not come back before us for a month-to-month again. Taking us to item number 7, it's 21-0791, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the fiscal year 2021 intergovernmental grant fund budget on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs in an amount not to exceed $25,000 to anticipate and appropriate grant funds from the National Endowment for the Arts through its Grants for Arts Projects program to the Intergovernmental Grant Fund, and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for the NEA Grants for Arts Projects to fund the 2021 Elevate Atlanta Public Art Festival, which requires matching funds in an amount of $25,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right, this item is favorable, 7 yeses, 0 noes. Next item is item number 8, 21-0792, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to write off Department of Aviation accounts receivable in an amount of $132,251.90, where it has been determined that such accounts are uncollectible and for other purposes. Mr. Bala, will you just tell us quickly what these uncollectible accounts are that are covered by this legislation?
Good afternoon, Council Member Ide and Council members. This legislation is to write off $132,000 of bills that were associated with the Sheraton Atlanta Hotel, or utilities that were paid by the airport for the hotel, and these weren't paid, and they've exhausted all efforts to collect on these, and so the prudent thing to do is to write off the receivable as debt.
And all
3 months of utility payments.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate that they didn't pay. I will make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yay.
Madeline, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 7 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 9 is 21-0793, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee amending the FY22 Intergovernmental Grant Fund budget, the Department of Executive Offices, by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount of $40,000.00 through September 30th, 2022 from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and waiving the requirements of Chapter 2, Article 9, Division 1, Section 2-910 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, entitled Grant Applications, and ratifying the mayor's actions and applying for, accepting, and entering into agreements in connection with said grant and for other purposes.
Second.
All right. Motion by Ide, second by Shook. Open the vote.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yay.
Archibald, yes.
All right. This item's favorable with 7 yeses, 0 noes. That looks like that's a great program to help victims of crime connect to community resources. Item number 10 is 21-0794, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee waiving the requirements of Chapter 2, Article 9, Division 1, Section 2-910 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances entitled, hold on. Entitled Grant Applications and Ratifying the Mayor's Actions and Applying for and Accepting and Entering Agreements with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council regarding the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program Grant and for other purposes. And there was a request to hold this item this week. That's my motion.
Second.
Let's open the vote on the motion to hold.
The vote is open.
Dickens, J.
Archibald, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 7 yeses, 0 noes. It will remain held in committee. Item number 11 is 21-0801, an ordinance by Councilman Joyce M. Shepherd to waive Chapter 2, Article 9, Division 1, Section 2-910, grant application of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to ratify the City of Atlanta's grant application with the Georgia Power Foundation, Inc., for a Georgia Power Governmental Unit grant to support the capital costs associated with creation and establishment of the Center for Diversion and Services, to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to accept the award of the grant funding and to amend the FY 2022 budget in the amount of $100,000 to anticipate and appropriate grant funds from Georgia Power, to authorize the mayor or her designee to enter into any required agreements necessary for the implementation of this award and for other purposes. And I believe there's a substitute that needs to be brought forward, so I'll make the motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on bringing forward the substitute.
The vote is open.
Dickens, J.
Archibald, yes.
All right, that's 7 yeses, 0 noes on bringing forward the substitute. So the substitute is now before us. I'll make a motion to approve on substitute.
Second. Shepherd.
Let's open the vote. And then, Councilmember Shepherd, do we have another paper today that's about the diversion program? This is just about the Georgia.
Right, and we do. And I was like, what I said is, oh my goodness, they're putting the cart before the horse. And so this paper is a part of the other paper that's coming. And this will support the other paper.
Okay, well, when we get to the other paper, it'd be great to hear from you or the administration about how how this is coming together. But let's just do this. Let's talk about it when we get to the main paper.
Thank you.
All right, vote is open. Archibald and Dickens.
Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right, this item is favorable on substitute with 7 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 12 is 21-0803, an ordinance by Councilmember Andre Dickens to amend Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 9 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to continue the City of Atlanta's Small Business Opportunity Program, the SBA program, to amend Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 12 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to continue the City of Atlanta's Equal Business Opportunity Program, the EBO program, to acknowledge and incorporate the disparity study performed by Keene Independent Research, LLC, to amend the sunset provision of the SBO and EBO programs and for other purposes. All right, Ms. Kempson-Wright was there. Did we need to amend this? Or has it already been?
No, we don't need to amend this item unless you wanted to add the actual report to it, but it's not a requirement.
Okay. Mr. Dickens, did you want to do that?
Yeah, I wanted to add the report to it just so it'll always travel together.
Okay. I will second Mr. Dickens' motion to amend to add the report. And then let's open the vote on that amendment.
Madam Chair, one moment. I'm sorry. There was a request made to actually obtain the report, and we do not have it yet. I don't know if you all want to make it a condition and it move forward favorably pending receipt of the report so that we can attach it.
What do you want to do, Mr. Dickens?
Okay, yeah. Then we need to I'll make a motion to approve pending on the condition that we get the report.
Okay, I'll second that. Let's open the vote on that motion.
The vote is open. Archibong, yes.
Mr. Westmoreland? Are we waiting on Westmoreland's vote?
Yes, please.
He may have had to step away. Let's see. Okay. This item is favorable on condition. And did we end up at 5 or 6? Let's see. 6 yeses, 0 noes. All right. Number 13 is 21-00804, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone to correct ordinance number 21-00330, adopted by the City Council on June 21st, 2021, and approved per City Charter Section 2-403 on June 30th, 2021, to authorize amendment number 3 for FC-8100D with Willis Insurance Services of Georgia for the purpose of correcting the contracting vendor named therein and for other purposes. So this corrects the contractor vendor name to Willis Towers Watson Southeast Inc. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Dickens, Jay.
Archibong, yes.
And Westmoreland.
All right, this item is favorable with 7 yeses, 0 noes. Next item is 14, 21-00807, an ordinance by Councilmember Carla Smith to ratify execution of Lance Bottom's executive order directing the Chief Financial Officer and the Commissioner of the Department of Human Resources to extend the implementation of the City of Atlanta's Employee Vaccination Incentive Program, ratified by Ordinance 21-00709, pursuant to which city employees receiving their initial COVID-19 vaccinations between September 15, 2021 and December 31st, 2021 shall be eligible to receive a one-time $100 incentive payment, and directing the Chief Financial Officer and the Commissioner of the Department of Human Resources to expand the City of Atlanta's Employee Vaccination Incentive Program such that persons receiving a COVID-19 booster following the date of this order through December 31st, 2021 shall also be eligible to receive a one-time $100 incentive payment and for other purposes. And we did hear about this earlier in the HR update. I'll make a motion to adopt.
Shook with a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm totally in support of this. I would just like to hear that this will in no way violate the Georgia Constitution's prohibition on gratuities.
Well, I'm not going to take a stab at that. I'm going to ask the law department to speak to that if we have Ms. Robinson on the line or somebody else who can speak to that.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Amber A. Robinson, Law Department. Yes, that this particular action in the ordinance ratifying the executive order are in compliance with the Georgia Gratuities Clause because neither incentive that is authorized here is retroactive. None of the incentives were available to any employee prior, if they got the vaccination, either the initial vaccination or the booster prior to the initial adoption of the employee vaccination incentive program. And because it's not retroactive and because the city does derive a substantial benefit from having its employees vaccinated that we couldn't otherwise necessarily receive, this incentive program is in compliance with the gratuities clause of the Georgia Constitution.
Excellent. Second.
All right, let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yes.
Archibald, yes.
Mascate, yes. Westmoreland, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 7 yeses, 0 noes. Ms. Kenson-Wright, on 15, do we have the final substitute ready?
No, we don't, and we've actually been asked to hold it by the mayor's office.
Okay, let me just read it in. I'll make a motion to hold. Item number 15 is 21-00809. An ordinance by council members Andre Dickens and Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee, 1, to establish a child saving account program for the benefit of low-income children in kindergarten within the city of Atlanta and create a citywide plan to inspire college attendance. 2, to create a public-private partnership through the solicitation and selection of a program administrator and a financial institution. And 3, to execute agreements with applicable parties to create, fund, develop, implement, and manage the child savings account program. Authorizing the City of Atlanta to provide initial contributions of money into the child savings accounts as seed money for college savings. Authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to appropriate $2 million and 0 cents from the Economic Development Trust account to the account set forth herein and for other purposes. And I will make a motion to hold.
Second, Dickens.
All right, let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
And you can tell us all about this next time, Mr. Dickens.
Right.
All right. Archibald and Westmoreland.
Apologies. Yes.
Archibald, yes.
All right. This item is favorable with 7 yeses and 0 noes. Next item is 16, 21-00810. An ordinance by Councilmember Joyce M. Shepherd authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the fiscal year 2022 budget by transferring appropriations within various funds from the Department of Aviation, Watershed Management, and Public Works to the Department of Finance in a total amount not to exceed $948,793.60 for Oracle, HCM, ERP, EPM, and task software support and maintenance with Mythix, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Finance and for other purposes. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yes.
Archibong, yes. All right, Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
All right. This item is favorable with 7 yeses and 0 no's. Next item is 17-21-0-0812, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer and I to amend Ordinance 21-0-0186 to authorize the city on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs to accept the donation of an artwork installation by Atlanta artist Chris Condon titled Canis Rufus, the artwork installation, which has been commissioned by Andrew Filer and Laura Adams and is valued at $17,500 to be installed on certain city property known as the Parklet, located where Greenwood Avenue intersects with the Beltline's East Side Trail and for other purposes. I will make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
Archibong, yes. Vote is open.
Dickens, yes.
Westmoreland, yes.
And hopefully this will be installed soon, and you all can come visit it on the East Side Trail. It's a gift that one of my constituents has given to two of my constituents have given to the city for artwork on the Beltline. This item's favorable, 7 yeses, 0 no's. All right, this gets us to some council member papers. So we're going to take 18, 19, and 20 together. 18 is 21-0-0814, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the transfer of $5,000.00 from the Council District 9 carry forward account to the Council District 9 distribution account to continue serving the Atlanta community for the public good and for other purposes. Number 19 is 21-0-0816, an ordinance by Councilor J.P. Massacite authorizing the transfer of $5,000.00 from the Council District 8 carry forward account to the Council District 8 consulting professional services account and for other purposes. Number 20 is 21-0-0843, an ordinance by Councilman Carla Smith authorizing the transfer of $50,000.00 from the Council District 1 carry forward account to the Council District 1 salaries per part-time account and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to adopt 18, 19, and 20.
Okay.
Let's open the vote.
Vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
Westmoreland, yes.
Mr. Dickens?
Dickens, yay.
All right. Vote is closed. Those 3 items are favorable with 7 yeses and 0 no's. Waiting for the screen to update. It's still showing 4 for me, but I think it was all 7 of us, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's just slowly transitioning, but it does show 7.
Okay. This takes us to Section J, our resolutions. Item number 21 is 21R4120, a resolution by Councilmember Jennifer and I authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to refund customers for overpayments to water and sewer accounts in an amount of blank. And we will hold this until we are ready for it. So that's my motion to hold.
Thank you.
Open the vote.
Vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yes.
Westmoreland, yes.
All right, this item will stay held in committee with 7 yeses, 0 no's. Item number 22 is 21R4147, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise the first renewal option for SS-S-1210-150 Milner Technology Maintenance
with Milner Technologies, Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department and the Department of Finance for a term of 1 year, effective from April 1, 2022 to March 31, 2023, to purchase Unisearch Image Director Systems maintenance and ongoing support services in an amount not to exceed $182,720.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote.
Vote is open. Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yes.
Westmoreland, yes.
And I just have to say, it's refreshing for us to be approving a contract that hasn't started yet. All right, this item's favorable, 7 yeses and 0 no's. Item number 23 is 21R4148, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor who designate to execute the Fifth Amendment to Cooperative Purchasing Agreement CPS 1200570, uwork.com, doing business as Covendus on call IT professional services, with uwork.com, Inc., doing business as Covendus on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management to add funding in an amount not to exceed $200,000. All contracted work charged to and paid from the account numbers listed herein. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
And we are adding American Rescue Plan funds with this amendment. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 7 yeses, 0 no's. Item number 24, we did right at the top of the meeting when we had GM Biodari with us. So moving on to 25 is 21R4150, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor who designate to execute Amendment number 1 for Agreement CPS 1200173, Cooperative Purchasing Agreement for Executive Search Firm Services, with Census Solutions, Inc., doing business as Korn Ferry U.S. Government Consulting Services, utilizing the GSA, Human Capital Management and Administrative Support Services contract number GS02F078AA on behalf of the Department of Human Resources for Executive Search Services for the Department of Aviation to add funding in an amount not to exceed $74,973.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein for other purposes. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
And this is for assistance in hiring the airport deputy general manager position.
The vote is open. Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right, this item's favorable with 7 yeses, 0 no's. Let's see here. We're going to take 26 through 29 together, but we have to do some substitutes first. So 26 is 21R4151, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to refund $5,000.00 to Concept Diner for the purpose of refunding a deposit due to withdrawal of application of its alcohol business license. All funds to be charged to and paid from the fund, department organization account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Ms. Kempson-Wright, can we, 26, 27, and 28 have substitutes? Can we substitute them as a group, or do we need to do them one by one?
You can substitute them as a group, the 3.
Okay. All right. 27 is 21R4152, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing its CFO to refund $5,000 to American Cut for the purpose of reimbursing duplicate payments of its patio business license taxes and fees for tax year 2021. And 28 is 21R4153, a resolution by Finance Exec authorizing the CFO to refund $5,000.00 to K&LH on Convenience Store, Inc. for the purpose of refunding deposit due to withdrawal of application of its alcohol business license. So 26, 27, 28 all have substitutes. And Ms. Kempson-Wright, what's the nature of the substitutes?
There is no change to the caption for
any of them, but the substitutes update the narrative and clarifies the refund corrections in the body and binding clauses.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitutes for 26, 27, and 28.
Second.
All right. Let's open the vote on that.
The vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right. That motion is favorable. 7 yeses, 0 noes. I'm going to read in 29, and then we'll vote on them all together. So 29 is 21R 4154, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the CFO to refund $9,635.00 to Woodsmoke Provisions, LLC, for the purpose of refunding overpayment of business license taxes and fees paid in error, all funds to be charged to and paid from the fund department organization, account numbers listed herein, and for other purposes. So now let's take 26, 27, 28 as substituted and 29 all together on a motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on those 4 items.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yes.
Archibong, yes.
All right, those 4 items are favorable on substitute. Let me get back to where we are now. So that got us to 29. So number 30 is 21R 4155, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor and designee to enter into a cooperative agreement, CPS 1220070, with LinkedIn Services for branding, career page, and global presence services utilizing the NAFPO Master Contract AR 2472 with Carsoft Technology Corporation on behalf of the Department of Human Resources for 3 years with one-year renewal option and an amount not to exceed $207,796.19. All contracted work shall be charged to and paid from various accounts listed herein and for other purposes. And we do have an amendment. To make a motion to amend.
Second.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibong.
Yes, Dickens.
And the amendment updates the accounts for Watershed and Parks and Rec. All right, the motion to amend was favorable, 7 yeses, 0 noes. I'll make a motion to adopt as amended.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibong.
Let's see, Mr. Westmoreland? And I thought I heard Dickens, but it's still showing.
Yeah, Dickens, yeah.
My screen just shut down on me, so Ms. Kemp's right. Is that everything in now? There we go.
Yes, you got it.
I got it now. 7 yeses, 0 noes. This item is favorable as amended. I believe that now takes us into Section K, our dual referred items, and I think item number 31, state and CD. So this gets us to item number 32, 21-0802. A super long caption, so here we go. An ordinance by council members Cleta Winslow, Joyce M. Shepard, Andrea L. Boone, and Michael Julian Bond, as amended by Community Development Human Services Committee to ratify Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom's executive order directing the Chief Financial Officer to allocate $33,500,000.00, which is the present value of the remaining community benefit funds to be distributed to the City of Atlanta pursuant to the Gulch Development Agreement between the City of Atlanta, the Downtown Development Authority of the City of Atlanta, and Spring Street Atlanta LLC to support affordable housing, economic development, and workforce development, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to create an affordable housing trust account for the purposes of receiving and dispersing funds to support affordable housing initiatives, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to create an economic development fund, an economic development trust account for the purposes of receiving and dispersing funds to support economic development initiatives, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to create workforce development trust fund for the purposes of receiving and dispersing funds to support workforce development initiatives, authorizing the CFO to anticipate and appropriate a total of $33,500,000.00 received from the Gulch closing to the Affordable Housing Trust account, the Economic Development Trust account, and the Workforce Development Trust account as indicated herein, and for other purposes. And if we have Mr. Keene on the line, it would be great if you could tell us and the public what we're doing here.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee for the opportunity to provide an overview of this legislation and the Centennial Yards Community Benefits Funds. I'm John Keene, Chief Operating Officer for the City of Atlanta. The legislation before you ratifies the executive order by the mayor that directed the CFO to anticipate and appropriate $33.5 million, which is the remaining community benefits funds negotiated as part of that agreement. These funds are being allocated to affordable housing, economic development, and workforce development. Specifically for affordable housing, almost $21 million for programs related to the development of public land, down payment assistance, and the anti-displacement tax fund. For economic development, almost $11 million for programs related to the establishment of small business hubs, a local hiring program, a guaranteed income pilot, and children's savings accounts. And finally, for workforce development, almost $2 million for the establishment of a Center for Transportation and Logistics at the Atlanta Technical College. These allocations build upon the plans and strategies outlined in the Housing Affordability Action Plan and Economic Mobility, Recovery, and Resiliency Plan, while also complementing other investments the city is making via the Housing Opportunity Bond and the American Rescue Plan. So thank you again for the opportunity to provide an overview, and certainly happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Anybody have any questions while we have Mr. Keene? All right. It's your opportunity. I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second, Shepherd.
All right, let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
My screen is slow. It's still showing Archibong and Dickens.
Dickens is a yes.
Yeah. There we go. This item is favorable with 7 yeses and 0 noes. That takes us down to 33, which is 21-00800, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor, her designee, on behalf of the City of Atlanta to enter into Amendment Number 2 to contract effectively immediately upon execution with American King Joint Venture JV for FC 10383 pools and splash pads management and maintenance on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period beginning December 18, 2021 through June 30, 2022, and to add funding to this agreement in an amount not to exceed $900,000.00 on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation in accordance with Section 2-1163, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All kinds of work shall be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes. And this came out of CD yesterday. I believe, and it's an amendment to our current contract. Is that right, Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything of interest discussed in CD?
No, ma'am.
All right. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Open the vote.
Dickens, yes.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
All right, this item is favorable, 7 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 34 is 21-0777, an ordinance by council members Matt Westmoreland, Carla Smith, Joyce Shepard, Marcy Collier-Overstreet, Andrea Boone, Michael Julian Bond, Dustin Hillis, Andre Dickens, Alan Mosby Archibald, and Antonio Brown, and substituted by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the charter of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, 1996, Georgia laws, page 446 and following, adopted under and by virtue of the authority of the Municipal Home Rule Act of 1965, OCGA Section 3635-1 and following, as amended by amending Part 1, Charter and Related Laws, Subpart A, Charter, Article 6, Revenue and Fund Administration, Chapter 3, Fiscal Control, to establish the Building the Beloved Community Affordable Housing Trust Fund by adding a new paragraph 4 to create an affordable housing account for the purpose of appropriating 2% of the City of Atlanta General Fund budget to be phased in over a 3-year period at the beginning of each fiscal year to ensure adequate annual funding for affordable housing initiatives and for other purposes. And we need to hold this, I believe, because the required advertisements for a charter amendment have not been completed. Is that your understanding, Mr. Westmoreland?
Well, they haven't been done at all. The substitute yesterday in CD was to add in the language requested by the CFO to put in place additional parameters and guidelines about when this would take effect or when it would be implemented, but it does need to remain held in this committee. So I will make that motion.
All right. I will second that. Let's open the vote on the motion to hold.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
Mr. Dickens?
Dickens, yay.
All right. That is 7 yeses, 0 noes on the motion to hold. So that will remain here while it does all the procedural things it needs to do as a charter amendment. Looking, it looks like it's 52, our next item.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Item number 52, which is, if you're on the paper version, it's down on page 22, is 21-0704, an ordinance by council members Andre Dickens and Andrea L. Boone to amend the charter of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, adopted under and by virtue of the authority of the Municipal Home Rule Act of 1965, OCGA Section 3631, and following as amended by amending Subpart A, Article 3, Executive, Chapter 5, Civil Service System, Section 3-505, to permit the hiring of civilian personnel who shall be entitled to receive their regular pension payments, but shall acquire no further pension or civil service rights by virtue of such employment for terms in excess of 520 days and for other purposes. And this has had 2 readings and 1 adoption back in the beginning of the month. And then was held. And Mr. Dickens, is this ready to move forward?
I'm sorry, I just had to click back in.
This is the getting rid of the 520 days paper. Is this ready to move today?
I think it is, but I would like to hear from the administration to make sure that they're ready for it. I mean, they said they were, but
and I believe that it looks like the ad was run. I don't know if Ms. Kempson, right, if somebody can confirm that also.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. We were told by the Department of Human Resources that this item was ready to move forward.
Okay. Mr. Dickens, do you want to hear from HR?
No. I thought it was ready, but I didn't know if we were going to just hear from them or not. But I'm ready. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Sure. What's wrong?
All right, let's open the vote. Mr. Shook, this isn't the one you had a question on, was it?
No.
Okay. Felt like that you had a question some time ago. All right, vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
All right, this item's favorable, 6 yeses, 1 abstention. Let's see, before we get to the walk-in, all right, hold on one second, I'm getting a message. All right, let's do number 55. There's a request for us to just go ahead and file this one. So 21R 4112, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee amending 21R 34. Oh, hold on one second. I'm sorry, Councilmember Shepard, you have your hand raised?
I'll just wait until you finish this one, and then I'd like to speak, please.
Okay. 21R 4112 is a resolution by Finance Executive Committee amending 21R 3499, which authorized the mayor or her designee to enter into a cooperative agreement CPS 1210271 with Sterling Info System for pre-employment background screening services utilizing Region 4 Education Center Contract R191303 to add agreement dates on behalf of the Department of Human Resources in an amount not to exceed $340,370.00. All contract work shall be charged to and paid from accounts of security and for other purposes. And there's been a request by the administration to file this. So that's my motion.
Second.
All right, let's vote on the motion to file.
The vote is open.
Mr. Dickens and Ms. Archibald.
Yes.
Dickens, yes. Yes.
All right. So that's 7 yeses, 0 noes. This item is filed. Councilmember Shepard.
Thank you, Ms. Odd. I wanted to come back to that Georgia Power paper and just let you know that that paper that we was referencing, thinking that it was going to be a dual referral, was not dual referred from public safety. But if you want me to give you an explanation of the Georgia Power paper, I can go ahead and you let me know. We can, and also we have the administration on if y'all have any questions in reference to it. Would you like to?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting program that you're putting forward. So I think it'd be since we just got a little part of it here. I think just an overview of what the diversion program is would be. I'd like to hear it, and the public would probably like to hear it.
Okay, so basically, you all know that for the last year or so, we've been actually going back and forth in terms of ACDC being our detention center in the jail, and whether we should close it or keep it open. And one of the recommendations had come out of there from the mayor, and I would say a lot of us on council theoretically support this process of a diversion center, where right now our jail is actually only a small percentage of people are in there. There's been discussion about using it for a lot of different things. But what we're looking at today in terms of this proposal, which is other legislation that came to public safety a couple of days ago, was that we would take a couple of floors of the diversion center, of the jail, and convert it into the beginning of a pilot of a diversion center. We're looking at this proposal for at least 2 years. This would be theoretically something called a pilot, and that pilot would actually begin to do that in terms of looking at things that we could do with PAD, Grady Hospital, Mills Health Department, along with Fulton County Commission, to actually true up a program in a portion of our jails to actually create a diversion program. I, along with some colleagues from across the city of Atlanta and Fulton County, actually traveled to Houston, Texas about 2 or 3 months ago to actually look at a program that they have in Houston. Houston, Texas has one of the golden towns across the country in terms of doing things where the police officers are not locking people up. They're putting them in programs that can divert them from jail. And to that point, that's where we are in terms of this particular program, is beginning to create something very similar to that. That program in Houston was actually run by Harris County, but what we are now is Atlanta is the forefront. The council, the city of Atlanta is the forefront of it. But by going there with Fulton County, folks from Fulton County and the court system, and we had the police department, a series of different people, we were so excited about what we saw that we began to actually interact with Fulton County to talk about how we could create something, beginning of something to that point. I have deliberated in front of Fulton County. We presented, and the mayor's office has been in negotiation with Fulton County to actually true up this program at this point. And so with that, we have the legislation we passed on Monday was the IDA, the resolution in terms of the beginning of that program, and with the MOU and IDA intergovernmental agreement between the two entities, PAD, and all the parties involved. As a result of that, because of that, Georgia Power has gotten involved with it also, and they're very excited about the possibilities of what can be done with that. So they are donating $100,000 to it in terms of capital improvement, because one of the things we want to do as we create this program, as we're diverting folks from being in jail, we don't want to conceptually have folks coming out and looking like if the police are taking them, diverting them, that they're going into jail. So one of the things that's going to have to happen is we're going to have to actually change the face of the area where we would actually bring folks into that. It would not be conceived in as a jail, but just convert that floor or whatever into that. So Georgia Power has agreed to donate $100,000. This legislation is going before us on Monday for a vote. We have a huge amount of council people who have signed on to it. We will make sure that if you all have not read it, we can send a resolution with the IDA for you all to look at. But this program is one where the $100,000 from Georgia Power will be a part of the capital improvements of this particular project. So I'm not sure. I don't know if people have questions, so I'll be glad to answer them. And the mayor's office is also available to answer questions.
Thank you. That was great to learn more about the status of that, and it sounds like it's the culmination of a lot of work over the last many months on getting us here. So I'm excited to vote yes for it on Monday. Anybody have questions for Councilmember Shepherd?
No questions. Just to appreciate all your work on this.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure that we had clarity. People had questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before we have the walk-in left. Councilmember Dickens, the paper that we've put forward on condition of attaching the disparity report to, the report has now been submitted. Do you want to go back and reconsider and amend it and attach it, or do you want to do that on Monday? Okay.
No, that's good. It's here now. So let's make a motion to reconsider.
Yep. So that's item 12. It's 21-0803. I'll second the motion to reconsider. Let's open the vote on that.
Archibald, yes.
Yeah, just so people remember, this is for our SBO and EBO program. We now have the report, report to attach to it. All right. Let's see. Let's put Archibald as a yes on the motion to reconsider. So that should be 7 yeses, 0 noes to reconsider. You want to make a motion to amend to attach?
Yes, I make a motion to amend to attach the report.
Okay, I'll second that. And Mr. Westmoreland?
I'm ready to vote. Just a request to have the report emailed around, please.
Yep. Ms. Kempson-Wright, can we do that?
Yes, I'll resend the email that we received from contract compliance.
Okay. So we need Archibald, and I think Westmoreland said yes also. All right, the motion to amend was favorable with 7 yeses and 0 noes. Now we need to adopt as amended.
I make a motion to adopt as amended.
I'll second that. Let's open the vote.
One moment. Vote is open.
Let's see. Oh, my screen is a little bit hung up.
So, did you get Archibald?
I'm not sure we got Archibald. It might be my computer froze also. Okay. This is favorable as amended with 7 yeses, 0 noes. All right. Now let's hop all the way down to the bottom of the agenda and do the walk-in paper, and then we're done. The walk-in legislation is item number 56. It's ELMS 27256, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute cooperative agreement CPS 1220051 E911 Network System Administration Services with Mission Critical Partners LLC on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department for a term of 1 year with 3 one-year renewal options in an annual amount not to exceed $498,060.00. All contract work will be charged to and paid from the fund department organization and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes.
This item's favorable, 7 yeses and 0 noes. And Ms. Kempson-Wright, did I miss anything?
No, Madam Chair, that concludes all legislative items for today.
All right. If nobody has anything else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. See you all in 2 weeks, and don't forget that Tuesday is Election Day. See you all, my colleagues, on Monday. Thanks.
Thank you. How can we forget?
All right. Great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.